Welcome back, everyone, to the National Conference after this break. Hi, I'm Rasika. I'm from Bangalore, and I also play Ultimate in Bangalore. This afternoon session, we have a lot of exciting events planned. First, we'll have a panel discussion on Ultimate Frisbee in the times of COVID. I'm particularly excited about this one because it features my team, Tragic Trajectories. And this particular panel discussion is about young teams and how they have been struggling this past year to keep the team together, spirits high. And my team members will be part of the panel discussion. This is where we used to play, just to make a few people jealous. Yeah, this is our home ground, and we usually share it with football and cricket folks. But yeah, we usually monopolize it as much as we can. That's it. I'm going to stop sharing so people aren't too jealous. Now, after that panel discussion, we'll be having a short film for about 3 minutes, and it's about the moms of some Ultimate Frisbee players, featuring UPAI's partner, One All. After this, to finish off the conference, we will have 3 really exciting panel discussions parallelly in 3 different breakout rooms. To join any of these, you'll have to go to the website indiaultimate.org and click on the National Conference 2021 tab for these links, and you can join the session of your choice. And to just give you an introduction of the sessions that will be happening, there's going to be 3. The first one would be conducted by 91 Ultimates, the Unintended Receiver podcast. The host of this podcast will be running a very interesting session with ultimate virtual jeopardy games, and will also be announcing the contest winners of the meme contest. The second session is going to be titled All You Ever Wanted to Know About Coaching. And it's going to be facilitated by Suhani with national team coaches Nandan, Liz, Udayan, and Mrinalini. And the third one, also equally interesting, is on the challenges faced by women in leadership in the Ultimate Frisbee context. And it's going to be facilitated by Adwitiya, and it's going to be featuring Shaona Sen of Pass Collective, Varsha, an independent filmmaker of One All, and Anita, Bhengra, captain of the Delhi's GK Mad team. Do stay tuned for more of the details, and we really look forward to having you in all of the sessions. Hi, big hellos from our team, Tragic Trajectories from Bangalore. We've all gathered here today with our panelists, Manikam Narayanan and Mrinalini Siddhartha, for our session on Ultimate in the Times of COVID, a not so tragic tale. With me conducting the interviews will be Monali Maskar, Shubhra Shukla, and Chaitanya Deshpande, my very beloved and enthusiastic teammates. Of course, COVID has been quite a tough time for a lot of us, particularly those of us who play team sports. And team sports like Ultimate have been quite badly hit because we haven't been able to meet as much, or not at all in many cases. And keeping the team together and spirits high has been quite a challenge, especially for young, new teams like ours. Today in our panel, we are hoping to discuss some of these challenges and perhaps try to understand with our panelists how to deal with some of these challenges. So I'll just pass the mic over to my teammates for the questions. CD, would you like to take over the first question, please?
Sure. Thanks, Rasika. Thanks, Manik, Mrinalini, for helping us out with our questions. And these questions are not just on behalf of Tragic Trajectories. Here, I think they would be applicable to a lot of new and young teams as well. So very quickly to set context, Tragic Trajectories, yes, we call that, is almost a 1.5-year old team. In terms of how young the team is, we've just played one UPAI competition, and currently we are ranked bottom 3rd in all of club teams in India, which kind of tells you where we are and how much landscape we need to cover, right? But coming back to what Rasika said, one of our key challenges has been getting players or getting our teammates together. And this is not just on the field, because on-field activities have been suspended for a while, but but just regular meetings and and people being interested to talk or interact with their teams outside of the field. And my first question then would be, uh, in your experience, we've known that all big clubs started somewhere small, and that's where we are. And what were some of the points that helped you gel the team together? Anyone?
Okay. Since Mrinalini is on mute, I'll go first. Thank you, CD, and it was an awesome introduction. And thanks to Rasika as well. Really great setting the context. Just wanted to point out that Tragic Trajectories is the most unusual name I've come across, and it's obviously pretty geeky and very cool, coming from a bunch of scientists playing Ultimate Frisbee. That's like a classic Ultimate Frisbee team. So very honored and excited to be part of this panel. So to answer your question, CD, I think the important thing is to find out what's that secret ingredient that makes you all come together as friends first, and then automatically that translates to effectiveness and efficiency on the field, right? So to work as, I mean, I think Rasika also mentioned that team sport is the key here, right? So as you might have heard of Tate Idli Kalsu, Tex Bangalore. So they came together first as a bunch of foodies. So they used to get together to get food. And then they started playing because they saw someone else playing in Coven Park. And now they're like one of the top teams in the country. So that's that was their key. You just need to figure out what your key is. And I feel like Tragic Trajectories already has, science and a bunch of brains getting together often, talking about experiments and such, would be already your gelling magic formula, right? And so I think you already have it. If you are having trouble in maintaining those numbers, then we can talk about various strategies for that. But I think the key is to find that one single unifying thing that can bring you together. And for many teams, it's not there. I think Tate Idli and Tragic are a couple of standout examples where you already have an existing formula. I hope I have kind of addressed your question, but Mrinalini, did you want to add anything to this, or?
I agree. We need to find.
Thanks, Manik. Shubhra, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so I think the excitement of participation seems to die down very soon, especially in case of new teams. And in the past year, with only throws and just negligible number of opportunities for games, what measures could we take to keep the team motivated and excited?
Mrinalini?
My turn. All right. Thanks, Shubhra, for that question. So yeah, I've been working with a bunch of new players over the past couple of months, and it's a great question. So I think, especially with the lockdown and not being able to play full field games, finding ways to make your smaller group games exciting. Focus throws, throwing sets are just one type of way to keep in touch with your skills for ultimate, but just making it exciting, finding some sort of way to let me see. So some of the drills that I've used over here are having the girls do hit the target. So I set up cones, have them stand a certain distance away, and then work on their specific focus throws, but by trying to hit the target. And so when they're unable to, so I give them I'm like, you get 20 chances and you need to get 5 points. And if you hit the cone down fully, you get a full point. If you touch it, you get half a point. And so then they are focus throwing with focus, but trying to hit a target, right? Just making it more exciting, the same drills that you're working with. And of course, earlier in September, the competitions committee put out an Unlock 4.0 guidelines. And in that, there's a bunch of community sourced, socially distanced games and drills that we could try out. So I'll share that with you, or we'll just add it to the link. We'll add the link to the video later. But that's a good one to follow. Some great games in there: disking, disc golf. What do you call them? Manix, you might have to help me here. Paths for disc golf.
The trajectory, you mean?
Yes. The route.
Shape of the disc, you mean? Shape of the throw? Is that what you're talking about?
No, okay. Well, it's okay.
No,
but yeah, there are a lot of
great,
resources
right?
which you can make use of. Yeah.
That's actually great, right? And we've tried doing that. So one of our unique problems has been that while in the past 3 months, we've had an access to a field, which I think is a problem for most new teams or established teams as well. We have access to a field which we don't face,
That's awesome.
right? And that's a good thing, and it's a grass field, right? But the problem is getting 2 or 3 people on the field doing drills becomes monotonous, becomes boring, because you're seeing the same 3-4 people always on the field, and you're doing the same drills. So drills tend to get boring. They tend to deflate the excitement of ultimate. And the other problem is, of course, that we don't have new players coming in. A lot of our players are outside of our NCBS community. Tragic is based in NCBS. That's our home ground in Bangalore. And a lot of our players like Rasika, Monali are people associated with our group, and they come into the ground. But now, because of COVID, they have lost access to the ground as well. So then, because your motivation to not see the same faces and not do the same drills gets very taxing. What can we do? So, for example, Monali is at field, and she has a disc with her. What could she do to continue her practice with the disc and her commitment to the team?
So just by herself, you mean?
Individual
Just
drills?
by herself.
Yeah, because most of the time I spend a lot of time in the field, like 7 to 8 months in a stage. And if I'm coming back to preparing for the tournament, it's pretty difficult for me to get back and stuff for the tournament.
So individually, it is challenging. I mean, considering it's a team sport and it sometimes requires at least a partner to throw with to improve your throws. But even individually, I would say doing the focus throws that Mrinalini was talking about, for those who are not familiar with that terminology, the focus throw is essentially you pick a throw and it could be a outside in forehand, and then you set a target, a tree, or your little sister, whoever it could be. It could be, don't hit them, but I'm saying throw to them if it's a person, but hit the tree if you can. So that's the idea. So you just improve that throw from different angles. You could even try doing it with your eyes closed. So all of this is going to improve your relationship to your disc, right? With the disc, right? So that's one. The other thing that you could do if you have space is practice your long throws and also add a kind of a HIIT workout with it. Like, so high intensity, you throw and then immediately take off after the disc and get to the disc. Take a few breaths, do the same thing again in the other direction. So there are lots of things like that, which would, of course, in the times of COVID, if you have space and a disc, that you're one of the lucky few people, right? So then make the best use of it. However, if you have only 3 or 4 people, like CD was mentioning earlier on, I think it's perfect to do 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, 4-on-4 minis. And minis, and a lot of people are doing that all over the world, in fact. Okay, so minis without defense, right? So don't play defense or keep a very safe distance, big distance, and just improve your offensive flow. So essentially pivoting, throwing without even looking to your teammate, forming that chemistry now is super important. And minis typically mean not too many long throws, right? So a lot of short throws. Not only are they going to improve your chemistry, the short throws are often very tough to execute in a game situation, especially in traffic. So that's what you're going to be really working on. So minis are a fantastic alternative to a proper game during COVID, I would say.
Thanks, Man. You had a question about getting the team together and keeping the chemistry alive. You want to check with Manik from Mrinalini?
Yeah.
I was just going to answer that.
Yeah, please.
I was just going to get, so apart from, of course, individual or small group skill sessions, doing frequent, virtual bonding sessions with your team, especially now with everyone spread out over the country, is a great way to keep in touch with folks. Like even, I'm just going to quote this example, right? I don't know how long it's been since all of you saw each other on your tragic trajectory team. Exactly, even virtually, right? When we started this call, y'all were catching up, and it was so nice to just watch like Rasika and CD and all of you just catch up, right? And that maybe making that happen a little more frequently, consciously setting aside time. Something we did with my club team earlier in the lockdown was, I think there's this online Pictionary game that anytime someone was free would ping on the group saying, hey, anyone wants to play Pictionary? And we'd all just take like a 5 or 10 minute break. We'd all be working, but we'd make a little time just to go play. We'll draw some really silly things because, you're not drawing with a pencil on paper, you're drawing on a phone screen. Some folks would have a stylus and have a really good they draw really, really well. So these brought us together. We take screenshots and talk about it on the group later, but it kept the team together. So yeah, making time for that is a great way to keep the team together. Does that answer your question, Shubhra?
Yeah, I think so. And I think we had done something like this sometime last year around July, August. But it's still been a long time since we last did it. So I think we should continue doing that. I think especially Pictionary, we there was a spree for a couple of days.
Yes.
Yeah, so just to add on to what Mrinalini was saying is like, as ops, we often get queries from different teams. And so we actually saw this trend, and we also saw from social media posts, right? Like what the team activities, different teams are posting different things. So we were tracking all that. We could see that there was like a big surge in activity right after the lockdown in post-March. But then it kind of like plateaued and then tapered down to almost no activity. That's because, it's natural, right? Like people getting tired of this. It's not good for us to be like locked down like that. But then there's the important thing is like if everyone's doing Pictionary, it gets boring quickly. So the idea is to like go through different things, just like how you if you do the same drill every day, you've got to mix it up. Exactly. So I would suggest also watch parties either of non-ultimate content like movies. They, even when there was no COVID, we would suggest to newer teams that they should get together and go for movies between practice sessions. And that's like the way to bond and get chemistry on the field. So definitely now, if you have good internet access, absolutely watch parties is a great alternative. And doing watch parties using Ultimate Frisbee, either watching an Ultimate Frisbee themed movie. We have Strength of the Pack. I don't know if you all watched it. I think Rasika did. I've heard, I have seen her testimonial about that. So yeah, that would be highly recommended viewing. Or it could be a game that you want to watch and learn from and stop and chat about it. Not go super technical. It could be even one of your own games that you have taped and laugh about it or reminisce or whatnot, right? So all of these are possibilities, but the key is, again, the team leadership has to keep juggling through this and not having it just kind of become stale.
So that's a good point, right?
That. Sorry, go ahead, Celie.
Yeah. So because both of you mentioned having that core group that keeps everyone together, and invariably there's always two or three people in a large team who sort of are the binding glue. But what we have seen happening tragically with Tragic is that uh, suddenly it seems that the onus of of keeping the team alive, keeping the motivation alive is on this core group, and it sort of bogs them down as well, right? And because we don't see a lot of participation or interaction from the other side, I mean, it's a two-way street. It invariably turns up that the core team itself or the core group in itself is bonding or messaging each other, reaching out, saying, "Hey, I hope you're doing well," and just want to say hi after a long break, and that kind of alienates that core group from the other team. So one is, of course, we've seen this problem. So how does the core group keep their head above the water? And I think my second and probably the last question that you could answer is, Manik, a while ago we spoke about in our informal discussions about having a mentor from a senior team or a big club that keeps smaller teams on their feet or in the right sense. If you could just like answer those two between you and Mrinalini on one, the mentorship, and the other is, of course, how the core group can continue their head above water.
Manik, shall I take the core group question? Yep. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to quote from my own example. That's exactly what I was going to talk about, right? That it can get very taxing for two or three folks on the team to continuously maintain team chemistry or people keeping in touch. So maybe spreading the load, so what we had done on my team was we had buddy groups that existed, and there'd be a core team member on every buddy group. But for every month, actually we did it more frequently than a month in the beginning, but maybe we could have spread it out a little longer. Is my takeaway from that, is that each month one buddy group is in charge of running some activity for the entire team. And that's what we did with a team of, I think we had 5-6 buddy groups. It'll easily pull you through 6 months of every month just one activity, and that's all that you really need, right? Just meet up once a month, chat, play some fun activity. I think we had some quizzes. We had some really exciting things that buddy groups came up with, and that's a good way to spread the load. Yep.
Thanks. Manik, you want to mentor us?
I'd be very happy to share whatever I know. Mentor is a very big word, but especially to a team of PhDs. But what I would suggest is, like, looking at similar teams, like, campus-oriented teams. And I would say campus-oriented teams are a different situation, but at the same time, like, some of the basics will still apply from any club team to the other. Looking at Bangalore, where you guys are located, I think there are plenty of awesome examples. I think Airbenders and ATC are two, like, fantastic clubs which have managed each of them over 100 people at any point of time, and they do a great job of, like, making sure everyone feels connected, everyone feels like they're part of something cool. ATC, in fact, just after the lockdown, they went through this, like, amazing blitz of social media blitz, rather, of putting out content. In fact, inviting people from other teams, like from yoga to powerlifting to whatnot, like, like all kinds of different experts to come on board. And they kept sharing that with the rest of the community, which I think is really awesome, just pulling the whole community together. I think Stray Dogs and Storm did it in Delhi and Mumbai as well. Airbenders had a something called Breakout, which is like their own Zoom-based platform, which they invited people to come and talk about things other than not only just Ultimate, but also other things. So this is like this, yeah, a good way to engage the community in in just staying connected and talking about things that are important and passionate to us. And so all of that is possible. And to go back to the aspect of mentoring, definitely reaching out to one of the Bangalore teams who've been there for a while. I would definitely recommend talking to them. And they've done that in the past. I think ATC, for instance, has mentored Christ University's teams. Like I think what are they called? Skywalkers, right? Yes. Sorry, Christ. So the Skywalkers, and so that has been like traditionally they have been kind of like helping out that college team, and automatically like when people graduate out of that college, their option is to like say, okay, do I want to go to ATC if I'm in Bangalore? Yes. Okay, automatically they go there. So it's a win-win situation sometimes. So that's another thing that you can do. But being a college team yourself, although a very different kind of college, I think you can do the same thing, pay it forward to younger people who are just joining their PhD programs. I think you have immense potential just within the college, especially having your own grounds. So I think this is, you have all the recipe for a fantastic, potentially massive club team that can take root in Bangalore, I feel. So yeah.
We don't have a cook.
That's what Ultimate would do. It'll make you into cooks. So I'm not worried about that. Yeah.
Thanks, Manik.
I had one more question if we have time. Just an extension of what Manik just said, particularly about campus-oriented teams or just college-based or based out of an educational institute like ours. I just feel like how you pointed out that ours is a very different from other educational institute in the sense like, there's one common problem that there are people coming from different geographical areas. Their hometowns are far away and they come to a place in the college they meet, and once they graduate, they move back to some other place or like their hometown or some new place where they get their jobs. But still, I feel like in a college team, at least you have like a 3-year tenure, and there's a periodic passing of the legacy by the senior graduating batch to the juniors. But in a team like ours, which is based out of a research institute per se, like there are PhDs who like spend like 5 years of their time throughout, but most of our team's composition was not of PhDs, but more of like interns who are coming for 6-month project, 1-year project. Like myself, I was also there for just a year, and then you move back to some other place. And so this is a very specific question to our team. Probably not everyone, not all new teams face this. So if you're not in the same geographical location, in the same city, and not even the same state, then how do we, meet up and continue that?
So, there are two, that's a great question. First of all, Shubhra, thank you for sharing. I think it's not straightforward. There are two contexts to look at, right? So one is in times of COVID, and obviously it's super challenging. Just like even Mrinalini and I work together on the ops team, and we used to meet almost every day. And then after COVID, like she's in Coimbatore and now she's in Assam, we still meet every day, but through Zoom. So it's, in fact, I think we are more regular now than before. And like, when we didn't have COVID, we were like, yeah, I'll just work from home, and not a big deal. But now, we're all yearning for that in-person meeting. We get things done so much better. Obviously, playing Ultimate is slightly different. If you're on a Zoom call, you're not going to be able to play Ultimate together. It's not the same. But so in terms of talking about the pandemic, yes, it's a really difficult situation to be in when you're spread out, not able to meet, even for non-ultimate things. So to keep the team chemistry is going to be hard. And that's what we talked about all this while, like the different watch parties and Pictionaries and such, right? But if you're in, once all of this is over, the second wave is done and we're back to normal, everyone's vaccinated and hopefully soon, then what I would suggest is, like, we need to think about it in a very different way. Like my philosophy is different. Maybe Mrinalini has a different view. Is that, like, once you are done with your 6 months or 1 year at Tragic, and you move back to your hometown or move to a place where you're working, you still love all your teammates. There are a couple of things you can do. One is, the new place that you go to, maybe there are 3 things you can do. One is you decide where you want to go. And often, like, that's how my life has been. I always decide to go to a place where there is Ultimate. But if I'm ended up in a place where there's no Ultimate, I at least carry a couple of discs with me and go try to start Ultimate. And that's what I think there are 2 different ways to look at it, right? But if you do end up in a place where there is Ultimate, then you have a couple of choices. One is like, hey, Tragic's my team, Tragic for life, or I know it sounds bad, but let's say Tragic trajectories for life. I would say after maybe a few months, it won't make sense. I would say we should try to stay in touch with Tragic and then move on and add value and bring your learnings and learn new things from the local team there. I would say that enhances the spirit of Ultimate, like, which is sharing and learning and making friendships and networking and expanding and eventually taking over the world, of course. But yeah, Mrinalini.
No, I completely agree with that. I did, personal experience, I did find it hard to start my own team when I was up in Valpare, even though I was there for 2 years. So I'd keep traveling to play with a Chennai-based team only for tournaments. And I did that. And now I'm wishing I had started just playing with a team in Valpare. So yeah, and keep in touch with your teammates. But if you're going to be away from the home city of that team, like away from Bangalore, then like Manik said, look at other ways to keep Ultimate in your life. Yeah, start a new team.
Monali is going to start a team in
Reddit
Rajasthan.
forum, like.
So, or go to Reddit and recruit people. That's what I've been trying to do. I got 10 people.
Amazing.
What a nerd, CD.
Yeah.
Staying true to our team's name.
That is great, right? Like, so the CD is in Baroda, and there is no Ultimate there, and
there's no Ultimate here.
He's literally started people getting interested in throwing. That's amazing. It's exactly what we all should aspire to do. Another great example is Bhengra, right? Like our president, who has gone from city to city, playing for different teams, and almost empowering and enhancing that team to finish top 4, top 5, top 3. So it's that's another great example to follow. Not so tragic trajectory to follow, I would say. Yeah, so it'll be good.
That's great. So I think in conclusion, I think what we can say is, we sort of have our logo inspired from Saturn with its rings and many moons. And I think what we just discussed was Monali having her own satellite team and Rasika having her own satellite team, and then pitting them against our original parent team, sort of the Game of Thrones situation. But that's great, right? I mean, I believe that's one way. If you are disconnected from Ultimate and your team, a good viable option would be to restart it on your own in whatever location or place. Yeah, so I think one last comment for me would be going back to earlier what we said, right? We are a team of nerds and scientists and ecologists and people who study nature. And one of the most nerdiest way in which we are a self-taught team. We don't have a coach. Most of us looked at Ultimate videos, looked at Viftif rules, and sort of got everyone to do everything together. In that sense, we are pretty enterprising. And in the most nerdiest way, we explained the concept of
Hex.
what was that concept? Well, there's hex, of course. There's hex, of course, but okay. See, this is how long I've been not playing Ultimate, and the idea was that you explain that you need to stop after you receive the disc. The decrease in your speed should be monotonic, and that's how we described.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's great fun though, but I think maybe if Rasika could help us close and conclude and say goodbyes.
Yeah, so that was very fun and very enlightening panel discussion. We are hoping, as CD said, we're all hoping to be our tragic trajectories, Saturn's moons in our own places like Mrinalini is right now. And clearly she seems to be traveling a lot. So we're expecting a lot of moons to spring up in Rajasthan, everywhere. So that's one thing in our advantage, I suppose. So we're really looking forward to that. Thank you, Manikam. Thank you, Mrinalini, for giving us so many different points to think about and perhaps implement also as a team. Especially the quizzing thing that really struck chord with me. I think us being nerds, perhaps we can meet for the next time with a science quiz or a biology quiz or something like that. But yeah, we are also hoping that this discussion turned out quite useful for up and coming young teams. And this could be an opportunity for us also to connect with them, any other teams who would perhaps be facing the same challenges, or they're just looking for some fun pulling each other's legs. So yeah, so thank you for that. Thank you, the interviewers as well. A fun lot. Good luck for everything. We hope to meet each other in person or at least on Zoom very soon. So,
Manik, if you're still looking for a team, we have a spot.
Yes, you should pull a Meghna, like you said. You should just pull a Meghna and join us, and bring us to the top 4.
No, nobody else can do that. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Get Meghna to join us. It's fine.
That's
nobody. We are so pathetic that nobody else can help us bring to the top.
Oh no, Shubhra.
We're so tragic.
We're so tragic.
Nobody can help you. Nobody. Oh no.
Great. No, thank you so much, Manika, Mrinalini, Monali from joining all the way from Pratapgarh, Shubhra from somewhere in the north capital region. We don't care.
Ghaziabad.
Ghaziabad. Rasika, thank you for jumping in. You just came back from film last night and you were, as usual, the most spirited person to come up and show this responsibility as you always have with Tragic. Thank you so much. And we look forward to everyone having a great national conference and hope to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Soon.
Bye, folks.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
നാങ്കൊക്കെ എൻ്റെ പ്രായത്തു ആണൊരു കളിയും കാണി നാങ്ക അതേ ഇതേ ചുറ്റുവാനും കാണി ഇപ്പോഴേമൊക്കെ കാണിട്ടൊരു ഇതൊക്കെ ഉള്ള ഇപ്പം നാങ്ക തന്നെ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു നാങ്കളും ഇപ്പോൾ പോയിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എങ്കാക്കും ഉള്ളാടം തന്നെ എൻ്റെ നാങ്കളും വിചാരിക്കുന്നു പിന്നെ ഒന്നിരാണ് മക്കാക്കും നാങ്കാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ കളിപ്പോവും എൻ്റെ ഒക്കെ ഈ കളിയിൽ വന്ന് ചാണത്തെ ഒന്നും കാണില്ല എല്ലാവർക്കും കളിക്കാൻ
நான் வந்து கூச்சப்பட மாட்டேன், வெக்கப்பட மாட்டேன், எல்லார்கிட்டையும் நல்லா சோஷியலாக பழகுவேன், ஜாலியாக இருக்கணும்னு எனக்கு ஆசை. அதேமாரி என் பொண்ணும் இருக்கணும், சந்தோஷமாக இருக்கணும், பசங்க கூட சேர்ந்து விளையாடணும், இந்த ஆம்பளை பொண்ணு எல்லாம் வேற்றுமை இருக்கக்கூடாது. இப்போ வந்து எனக்கு என் ஃபேமிலியில் வந்து கஷ்டம்னு வந்தால் எனக்கு எந்த கஷ்டமும் தெரியாது, அது எனக்கு சமாளிக்கக்கூடிய தைரியம் இருக்குது. அதேமாரி என் பொண்ணு இருக்கணும்னு எனக்கு ஆசை.
ഇപ്പം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വിചാരിക്കാത്ത ഒരു കാര്യമാണ് ഡൽഹിക്കും പിന്നെ ചെന്നൈക്കൊക്കെ മക്കളൊക്കെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി കളിപ്പിച്ചാനും ആൾക്കാർക്ക് അറിയില്ല. ഞാൻ ആദിവാസിനെ മക്കളെയാണ് പോയി കളിച്ച് വരും, അവരെ കൈകൊള്ള
என் பொண்ணு வயசுக்கு வந்தாவா கண்டிப்பாக நான் அனுப்பணும்னு ஆசைப்படுவேன். நானும் இல்லை, எல்லா பேரண்ட்ஸும் அதேமாரி அனுப்பணும். ஏன்னா வந்து அதுங்களுக்கு அப்போ தான் தைரியம் வரும், வெளி உலகம் தெரியும். இப்போ ஒருத்தவங்க கூட பழகிறது போகிறது வரத்தெல்லாம் சில விஷயங்கள் மாற்றங்கள் தெரியும். அதனால் கண்டிப்பாக அனுப்பிச்சி வைக்கணும்.
മക്കളത്തേലും പുറത്തിറങ്ങി പല കാര്യം ചെയ്യണം. എൻ്റെ തന്നെ അവരെ ലോകം എന്താ എൻ്റെ അറിയും, പുറത്ത് എന്തായി നടക്കുന്നോ നമുക്കിരിയൊക്കെ മാത്രം എന്ത് നമുക്ക് അറിയാല. അതുപോലെ പുറത്തിറങ്ങി പോകണം. ഞാനെൻ്റെ ആണെങ്കിലും തടുക്കി എൻ്റെ മനസ്സിലെൻ്റെ ആയിക്കാണ്. ഞാൻ വന്ന് ഏത് പണിക്കലും പോയി കൊടുമി ആണേ പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുപ്പേ, നല്ല കാര്യമാണ്.
என் பொண்ணு வந்து என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கான்னா வந்து நான் வந்து நல்லா படிக்கணும், எனக்கு வந்து மேரேஜ் பண்ணாதீங்க, நான் வந்து நல்லா படித்து கலெக்டர் ஆகணும். ஏன்னா நான் வந்து கஷ்டப்படுறத வந்து என் பொண்ணு கஷ்டப்படக்கூடாது. அதனால வந்து அவள் நல்லா படித்து வாழ்க்கையில் முன்னேறணும்னு எனக்கு ஆசை. என் பொண்ணுக்கு நிறைய ஃப்ரெண்டு, அதுக்கு முன்னாடி இவ்வளோ ஃப்ரெண்டு, இப்போ பக்கத்து சந்திலலாம் போய் நானம்மாலாம் ஃப்ரெண்டு பிடிச்சி வச்சுக்கிறான். அதனால நிறைய மாற்றம் இருக்கு அவளுக்கிட்ட. சரி வர போயிட்டேன்ப்பா.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can always do that.
Amazing.
You just have to log in from his ID. He doesn't have to be there.
I mean,
that's
the only way
classes.
The only way I did a proxy attendance was by not attending. So I don't know how that works.
You're special.
It's these days.
Okay, everyone's here. Shall we start?
Yes. Okay, so 1/4 instructions. Mrinalini says, "Hello India Ultimate, we are the UPAI operations team," and everyone waves. And Mrinalini says, "Welcome to the 4th UPAI National Conference." The moment she finishes, we start asking each other questions, and just pick whoever you want and start asking them questions.
Work questions.
Who were the pairs? Maitri and me.
I'll just wish you happy birthday.
Yeah, just choose someone. Manik and
Oh,
Dhruv.
Maitri will ask. Okay.
Shubhra,
Maitri.
Okay, wait. Hold. Manik and Dhruv. Maitri and Abhikalpa. Shubhra and Matthew. Me to Mrinalini.
We just all go at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're muted,
Okay.
Maitri.
Start.
Yeah, okay. So
Let's start with the rooster.
Dhruv is on mute.
We'll add
Oh,
the
yeah,
rooster
yeah.
later.
Go.
I have
and
many
then
recordings of rooster sound. We'll just
Okay.
add it to the track.
Focus. Okay. So on mark, 3, 2, 1, mark.